Hey guys, let's get started in session 8. Session 8 is a heavy topic to digest. We are focusing on violence and abuse that occurs within the family unit in this session. And so if you have ever experienced family violence or some sort of abuse within the family unit, you are going to understand why this session is so emotionally heavy. If you have not ever experienced family violence or abuse within the family unit, once you get through the reading of chapter 10 and the journal assignment this week, you will also understand why this unit is so emotionally heavy. Family violence or abuse within the family unit can mean lots and lots of things. We might actually be talking about physical abuse or emotional abuse or sexual abuse. Abuse and violence comes in many different forms. The main point that I want you to understand interacting with this session is this should not be allowed to happen within family units. Unfortunately, when it happens to children and adults don't step in, children are not as able to stop it. However, adults in family units where violence and abuse is occurring should be stepping in to stop it. One of the examples we use in Introduction to Sociology is common sense isn't actually something that makes sense to some people when they are interacting with their own society. And one of the examples there is abuse, where it discusses, we think common sense would say, if you are in a relationship and you are being abused, that you should leave. But research shows us that that sense of common sense isn't as common, and that most people stay for a varying amount of reasons, but they don't end the relationship. Throughout this session, I hope you understand how important it is to end the relationship, because we know by reading this chapter, by completing this journal assignment and other research data that exists out there, children being raised in a situation where there is family violence or abuse within the family unit they're being raised in come out as very scarred adults. And then they tend to perpetuate that cycle. So this session is not only about stopping the violence and abuse, recognizing when it's occurring and trying to remove yourself from the relationship, but also understanding what happens to children that are in that particular situation and the trauma that it causes them as adults. So as you read through chapter 2, you're going to come across something called intimate partner violence. That is violence between partners who are intimate, but you're also going to go through the process of child abuse or sibling violence, conflict within family that causes violence. You're going to see a lot of information about what types of reasons violence and abuse occurs within families. Understanding that there may be more reasons that it occurs, but it's still not acceptable. How you can recognize it and what's the best way to deal with it when it occurs. And then you'll see all sorts of aspects of the cycle, which I was sharing just a few minutes ago, of children that are in family units where this is occurring tend to perpetuate the cycle. And that's why it's so important to stop it. All right, so that will be what you read about in chapter 10. So make sure you spend some time reading in chapter 10 and answering those textbook questions within the Sage Vantage platform. You will be then ready to complete the Impact of Early Emotional Neglect journal. All right, so you will watch this video here linked in your journal assignment, The Impact of Early Emotional Neglect. And this is going to focus on the effects of neglect on children and then what happens to them as adults. Again, this session is pretty heavy, hard on the emotional senses. Once you're finished watching the video, you are going to copy the formatting that I have for you within the dotted lines. Click on the Start or Edit My Journal Entry button, and you are going to paste my formatting in the entry box. Remember, you are required to answer this in paragraph form. That means more than a sentence or two. Okay, this is a college level writing. Make sure that you answer in paragraph form and then go back through and change the color of what you have contributed to your journal entry. That way it's easy on the eyes to see what is my assignment and my formatting versus what is your contribution. Make sure that you are doing paragraphs in your response. Expand on your thoughts. Give additional examples. Incorporate experiences that you may have had or that you know people have had, or incorporate empathy for experiences that others have had. When you are finished with your journal, click that blue Save Changes button, and then you will be completing your Session 8 work. Make sure that you reach out to me quickly if you have any questions or concerns about this week's work, and I will make sure to respond to you as soon as possible.